Good morning, everyone. It's Thursday, November 20th, 2025. Welcome to the latest edition of Douglas Now Live. I'm Robert Preston Jr., and we've got a couple of stories we want to go over with you this morning. First of all, we'll start with sports, which we do from time to time, particularly when we're dealing with football. Finally, the 2025 football season in Douglas and Coffee County ended. A lot of people thought, it was over with last Friday night when the Trojan season ended, but that wasn't true. We still had the CCA Lady Patriots playing in the postseason for the first time. Of course, it was the first time they've ever had a team, so it was the first time they made the playoffs. They played the Georgia Christian Generals up in Macon. If they won, they will turn around and play another game. You're able to play more than one game per day because it's flag football. So the ladies were facing a potential doubleheader. And if they had survived both of those games, then they would be playing today for a state championship. All right. Unfortunately, though, the ladies did not win against Georgia Christian. They lost 12-7. It was an exciting game, and it was a fun game. And it showed what these kids can do and what this program is capable of moving forward. Now, one of the things, if you have followed CCA over the last couple of years, is they've committed to expanding the programs that they offer on campus, clubs and service organizations, as well as sports. And one of the things when they started football a few years ago, again, they started at the middle school level. Last year was the first year of a varsity program, and this year was the first year that the varsity played a region schedule. And then they have added flag football. So one of the take-home messages here is that CCA is committed to fielding a football team and has put out competitive football teams in a very, very short period of time. A few stats from the game on Tuesday. Arabelle Roberts had 7 flag pulls and 3 quarterback sacks. Arlie Vickers and Abra Harris had 4 flag pulls each. Bristol Bars defended 3 big passes. And Gracie Giddens, who you might remember from softball, had a handful of quarterback hurries as well. People talk about special teams in football and what a difference special teams can make. And that doesn't matter if it's in the NFL, if it's college, high school, or if it's playing flag football. You cannot ignore special teams, and special teams can win you games, and it can put your back against the wall and make it very difficult to recover from mistakes. And that was the case in this game. Special teams made all the difference, with CCA giving up 2 punt returns for over 60 yards for touchdowns in the second quarter. So that's where Georgia Christian, they won 12-7. That's where they got their points from. Was 2 big punt returns. So the Lady Patriots were able to successfully defend them from the line of scrimmage when the ball was in play. But special teams proved to be, their Achilles heel. Arabelle Roberts scored the only touchdown for CCA with interception return. She picked the ball off and ran it 20 yards for a touchdown. She also caught the 1-point conversion from Bristol Bars to get the score to 12-7. That happened in the third quarter. Neither team was able to score in the fourth quarter. What's interesting about flag football is there's no kicking. Your point after is a 1-point conversion from the line of scrimmage, just like a 2-point conversion is. So there's a lot of neat things with the with flag football. Sort of flew under the radar a little bit. They started it in a hurry, and there wasn't a lot of time for people to get ready and really know that it was happening until the season began. But this is something that they had a lot of fun with, and it's not a very difficult sport to field. The season's short, and it doesn't require a significant financial investment in terms of equipment and things like that. CCA finished their first season with a 4-3 record, and looking forward to next year. Listen, it gave the kids something to do, and this season happened between softball and basketball because basketball starts tonight. CCA basketball season starts tonight. So if they had survived Georgia Christian and Mount DeSales, there were some questions as to what exactly would happen with with basketball. The girls would have had to postpone their games or their game tonight in order to play for a state football championship. But as it turned out, that did not happen. But I'm sorry for our picture here. We lost a couple of the girls there at the top of the photo. I tried to crop it and fix it and make it work, and anyway, it did not come out very well. So the full picture is on DouglasNow.com. If you want to see a full picture of the CCA Lady Patriots football team, go over there and check that out. But again, it was a lot of fun. And once again, we had postseason football in Coffee County into November. And it was a lot of fun, and hope that it's a program that grows and continues to expand, and would like to see it grow in our area. It's real big in some of the larger cities, not a lot of it down here, but it was a lot of fun. It was good to see CCA get in on the ground floor and have a team, not just field a team, but have a very successful team. So congratulations to the CCA Lady Patriots. And again, it was a lot of fun following them, watching those girls play and listening to the stories coming off of the field. You know, coaching girls is not at all like coaching boys. And even in terms of coaching football, it's pretty funny because the girls don't take criticism in the same way that boys do. And they will let you know in a hurry if a coach gets on them in such a way that they don't like. So it's pretty fun to watch that dynamic as well. So there are a lot of interesting tentacles to flag football that make it different and more engaging in some ways than regular tackle football. County Fire Chief and EMA Director Steve Carver named the 2025 Festival of Lights Christmas Parade Grand Marshal. This was announced a couple of days ago. We posted the story on Douglas Now and got a lot of comments congratulating Steve. Listen, I want to take a few minutes here, all right? And I have alluded to this in the past. I don't talk to the chief regularly, and it's not something that I talk to him every day. But usually every couple of weeks, at least on a monthly basis, he and I have some type of conversation. And I'm familiar with the work that he does, and I'm familiar with how he serves this community. And it's one of those things where you really don't want to talk to him very much, because if you don't talk to him, then it means that nothing bad has happened. Whenever I talk with with Steve, there's usually some type of crisis has happened. There's an accident of some kind. There's a storm coming in. There's some type of calamity. And I've told you all the stories, and I haven't told you nearly all that I could about what happened during those 4 weeks in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene, when I was out at the county, the county fire station. I got to see Steve and the fire department as a whole, not just the fire, but all of our emergency responders. That was ground zero for the relief effort. I got to see each department and each commander, leader, organizer, what have you, in action every single day for 4 weeks. And the work that they did, and the work that in many ways flowed through our county EMA office first and then went to the rest of the departments. And Steve was on the front lines. And the work that he did and the work that his department did was phenomenal. And he doesn't like credit. He doesn't like to be in the spotlight. He doesn't like to be quoted. All right. So you're not going to see him out there in front of everyone. He would much rather stay behind the scenes and do his job and serve this community, and do it with being away from the cameras and away from the spotlight. But I can tell you that, first of all, this is very deserving, that every person in Douglas and Coffee County owes Steve and his department a debt of gratitude for what they did during Helene. It was not easy. It was not fun. It's still not easy. We're still recovering. The recovery process is going to take place over a period of several years. We didn't know how to respond to this. There's no, there's no good template for this if you've never been through it. Okay, those communities that experienced these types of disasters and these types of calamities year in and year out, they begin to develop a system of best practices that works for their communities. But we don't have that. So we were learning on the fly. But what they did was nothing short of amazing. And how the county fire department and EMA worked with city police, sheriff, city government, the county commissioners, Coffee Regional Medical Center, the various relief agencies that came in and relief organizations that came in, was truly phenomenal. And as difficult as the recovery was, without the work that they did, the recovery would not have been possible. All right. So again, but it extends beyond that. This is not just for Hurricane Helene. Maybe people sat up and noticed the work that goes on out there, because again, you don't see them very often. And a lot of times the work that they do is not something that you need to see. All right. So it flies under the radar a little bit. But the County Emergency Management Agency is a very busy office. There's a lot that goes into it. There are a lot of things that take place on a daily basis. They are more entwined into the day-to-day operations of our county and our community than anyone might know. So, but again, you don't see it until there's a crisis, until something bad happens. But again, I want to say congratulations to Steve. Thank you for what you've done for our community. This is a very, very deserving, very, very deserving honor. I know he's a little reluctant about it. He would probably rather not have the attention. He'd probably rather not have me talking about him like this and putting his picture up here, but it's very deserving. He's a good man. He's done a good job for our community. And without the work that he does and the dedication that he has to our community, we would not be in the situation or in the position that we're in. So yeah, again, it's very deserving. Again, congratulations, Steve, for the work that you do for us and for our community. Soccer fields. We posted a story a couple of days ago. Work is about to begin on soccer field renovations out at the municipal park, the J.C. Adams Municipal Park. Our facilities are adequate, and we have pretty good recreation facilities, but they need upgrading. Many of them do, and we have been in a revitalization/renovation phase now for a couple of years. We've redone Unity Park. We're in the process of redoing Roundtree Park. Of course, we had to jump in and do some work on Wheeler Park in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. We also finished a project not far away from the soccer fields at the Huckabee Softball Complex, which renovated those fields, new fencing, new lighting, that kind of thing. As a part of that project, the soccer fields were slated for renovations as well. Now, this is a joint project between the city and the county. And we wrote stories about this and talked about this. The county had to approve some things. The city had to approve some things. Some of the projects went through each agency. But we're about to get started on the soccer fields. And what's kind of funny about soccer, I know very little about the sport. I've watched it some, and I can kind of follow the flow of the game a little bit, but the rules, don't really know. Never had an opportunity to play soccer. When I was coming up through the recreation department, we didn't have soccer here. We also did not have soccer as a school sport until several years after I graduated. So I missed soccer all the way around. But my kids played, and I have seen how soccer has grown in our area, and we have some really good soccer that's played here, and we have some really good soccer players. So this is a much needed renovation. And there are a lot of comments about what may or may not happen as a result of renovating these fields. I will say this. It does seem to me, well, let me back up. There are opportunities for use of facilities, of recreation facilities, outside of recreation leagues. All right, travel teams, travel tournaments, whether it's baseball, softball, soccer, what have you, those are extremely popular. They're extremely big business. All right, they generate a lot of income for communities that embrace them. And once we get finished with this soccer complex, we're going to have a pretty good soccer facility. We have some good baseball facilities, some good softball facilities. And those facilities do get used from time to time by organizations who want to bring in travel teams. But there does seem to be some disconnect, if you will, between our community and these organizations that want to do large tournaments and large events. It does happen from time to time, but it doesn't seem to happen very much. And you look at other communities that embrace these types of tournaments, and it's something positive for the community. It's something positive for the kids. It's positive for the recreation department because it's easier to maintain facilities if they're used. All right. Facilities don't get used, then they go downhill in a hurry. So what I would like to see as a result of these renovations here at the soccer fields, but also with the new Premier Sports Complex that we built, the renovations over at Unity Park, and then of course at the Huckabee Complex, you look at the number of fields we have. We have facilities that aren't terribly far apart that could be utilized on the weekends quite a bit and could be a big, big positive for our community. And once we get all this stuff done, I would like to see us share these facilities, not just with those kids here in our community who are in the recreation department, but others who would like to come in and spend their money and use our soccer fields and use our softball fields and baseball fields. I would really like to see that. There's certainly a market for it. There's certainly an opportunity for it. And again, facilities last longer and are easier to maintain when they are used on a regular basis. And we can use these facilities year round if we're so inclined. I would really like to see that, and I really hope that would happen. In the meantime, though, thank you to the city and county for these renovations. It's big. All right, it's big. And it's much needed, and a lot of good is going to come from it. I would just like to see as much good as possible come from them. Coffee Regional Medical Center. Today is National Rural Health Day, and Coffee Regional Medical Center, along with several other organizations, are recognizing that and recognizing the significance that hospitals, rural hospitals, play in their community. Now, I'm going to opine a little bit here, and it's a small soapbox. I'm going to hop up on my soapbox for just a moment, and I'm going to give you fair warning. All right, so you know what's coming. When I sit back and look at our community, there are 3 or 4 vital institutions that come to mind. That we would not be where we are. We would not have experienced the growth and the prosperity that we have as a community without a few key players. All right, and this is just a quick list I made right as but before I logged on here. Coffee Regional Medical Center, South Georgia State College, our school system, and I'm sort of separating the college from the school system. And then you can certainly add our economic development folks, our Chamber of Commerce, and our law enforcement agencies. We kind of lump all of those into one because I think law enforcement and economic development are more related than people think about. We're not going to get into that this morning, though. But what I do want to say regarding the hospital, the cornerstone of any community, and it doesn't matter whether you're talking about Atlanta, whether you're talking about Los Angeles, or whether you're talking about Douglas, one of the cornerstones of any community is its healthcare system. And we post stories about Coffee Regional Medical Center whenever we get the opportunity. I will tell you this, I am unabashedly a supporter of Coffee Regional Medical Center. And many of you know that I have a family at Coffee Regional Medical Center. But aside from that, from the time that I was a kid, my family, my mother and my father, always supported our hospital and supported our local doctors. I don't know that I've ever had any procedure done or visited any doctor outside of Coffee County. Now, thankfully, I haven't had anything that requires any specialized treatment, anything with heart or any major illness. I mean, there are things obviously our hospital cannot handle. Thankfully, I have not been in a situation where that was needed. All right. And I remember back to when I was 17 years old, I had knee surgery here. All right. I had an arthroscopic procedure on one of my knees, and I had it done right here. And this is a time when everybody went to Tifton, right? Everybody went over to Dr. Scott. But we got an orthopedic. It was our first orthopedic that I remember, Dr. Saunders. And I had injured my knee doing something stupid, which is how most of my injuries occurred. But when it came time for surgery, my parents asked around, and they were told, listen, Dr. Saunders is as good as anybody. You may as well have it done here. So again, this is 1989. So this is not something that's just happened. This is not something that my support for Coffee Regional Medical Center is not something that has happened just because I married into the family a few years ago, okay, that I married into the Coffee Regional Medical Center family. No, we've always supported our hospital. And the reason I say that is when we post stories like this, there are people who always get on, I would rather die driving to Ocilla, Tifton, Waycross, pick a place than go to Coffee Regional Medical Center. We hear those comments, and nobody's perfect. I know that that there are times that mistakes get made. You run into a doctor or nurse on a bad day. You may not get the attention you feel like you deserve. You may not get the treatment that you feel like you deserve. But I think those are far fewer and farther between than what people make them out to be. And when I look at our community, when I look at what has made us to where we are today, and what will continue to fuel growth and expansion and prosperity and job creation, whatever words you want to use, Coffee Regional Medical Center is a big part of that. All right. It's a significant employer, but you think about the businesses that come in and the services that come in around the hospital. All right. It's, you can't name them all. All right. And even those who might seek treatment in hospitals and other places, you use doctors here in Douglas and Coffee County. The doctors that we have would not be here without Coffee Regional Medical Center. All right. And you can certainly get into the weeds when you look at the money and the finances and where all that goes and the economic contribution that the hospital makes to our community. It is in the tens of millions of dollars, all right, if not more than that. And I think about South Georgia State College, same thing, 50, 60, $70 million that it contributes to our local community, to our area. Coffee Regional Medical Center, I would imagine, does more than that. All right. So when we talk about Coffee Regional Medical Center, whether you like it or not, whether you want to get on here and bash Coffee Regional, without them, you don't have the resources that you have in Coffee County. You probably don't have the job that you have in Coffee County. All right. Because all of the businesses, all of the industries that we have, they look for certain things. And they go to communities that offer certain resources, and healthcare is one of those. And I will say this, in spite of what bad experience you may have had, you can get as good a healthcare at Coffee Regional Medical Center as you will in any community of our size, and some larger communities, than you will anywhere in the state. I would trust my family with Coffee Regional Medical Center with anything that they have the services to handle. All right, we would not seek treatment anywhere else. Now, if we're referred somewhere else by folks at Coffee Regional, that's different. But if we can get treatment here, we're going to. And it's one of the reasons that our community is what it is. And if you take that hospital out, then you lose, no pun intended, truly one of the heartbeats of our community. And we will suffer, and we will suffer irreparably. So again, I want to take a minute with the recognition of National Rural Health Day to thank Coffee Regional Medical Center for the work that they do here and for the impact that they have made. And I hope that other people recognize that. I hear people are pretty quick to say negative things and say bad stuff about Coffee Regional and other institutions here. But it's one of the cornerstones and one of the keystones of our community. And without Coffee Regional Medical Center, Coffee County would not be what it is. So again, thank you to our hospital, and thank you for the services that you provide to us. let's go to our tower cam as we wrap up. Yes, nothing to see unless the birds flutter around again. But another beautiful day in Douglas and Coffee County. It was so cold a few weeks ago, or a week or so ago. And now it's warm. Wearing short sleeves. Feels really good outside. We got kind of that fake winter there for a couple of days, and then it warms back up. But listen, that South Georgia weather, we know that. We can be, wondering about going to the pool or doing something on one day, and the next day it's snowing. So that's just the way it is. We have a very schizophrenic weather pattern and weather systems down here, but it's another beautiful day in Douglas and Coffee County. All right, these are our top stories and our top topics of commentary here on this Thursday. Hope everyone has a wonderful Thursday afternoon, and hope we have another wonderful weekend, the last weekend before the holidays officially begin. Thanksgiving next week, and I don't care how many Christmas trees we see. I don't care who's playing Christmas music right now. And I've gotten into it a little bit. I've bought into it. I've played some Christmas music when I've been riding down the road a little bit, but still, it's a little hollow until Thanksgiving gets here. We got to have our turkey and dressing, and then we can start worrying about Santa Claus the last weekend before the holidays officially begin. I hope everyone does have a wonderful holiday season as we approach it, and I hope everyone has a wonderful Thursday and a great weekend. Everybody have a good one. We'll see you next time.